Traffic on Highway 285 came to a halt after a multi-vehicle crash, and chaos broke out when a cat showed up at the scene. What happened next shocked even the most experienced first responders. As the afternoon sun shone through the leaves, the usual sounds of the highway changed suddenly. The screeching of tires broke the calm, followed by the loud crash of cars hitting each other. An orange tabby cat, hiding in the thick bushes along Interstate 285 in Colorado, perked up its ears at the noise. On the highway, several vehicles had crashed into each other, creating a pileup. Smoke rose from damaged engines, and the smell of burnt rubber filled the air. People got out of their cars. Some were moving around anxiously, while others stood still. Then, the sound of sirens filled the air, adding to the chaos. Most animals would have run away from the loud and unfamiliar noise, but this cat reacted differently. Instead of hiding, it ran toward the commotion. While it was unusual, cats can sometimes be curious in stressful situations. The cat stepped out from its hiding spot and walked onto the warm asphalt of the highway, weaving between the stopped cars as it made its way toward the accident scene. The sirens grew louder, and soon large red fire trucks arrived, their lights flashing as the South Metro fire rescue teams came to help. The cat vanished into the chaos of the emergency vehicles. One firefighter, however, caught a glimpse of the feline. Andrew Becker had just jumped out of his truck, his mind focused on the task ahead when a flash of orange caught his eye. For a split second, Becker's gaze followed the cat, a look of surprise crossing his face. It wasn't every day you saw a cat running toward an accident scene, but the moment passed quickly. Becker shook his head, pushing the odd sight to the back of his mind. There were lives to save, and he needed to focus. As the other firefighters and paramedics began pouring out of the trucks, they called out to potential victims. "Check under the vehicles," Becker shouted, his voice hoarse from the smoke. He moved methodically through the wreckage, his trained eyes scanning for signs of life. Each step was calculated, mindful of the unstable debris that could shift at any moment. The scene was chaotic, with multiple vehicles wrecked beyond recognition. The sounds of sirens and idling engines added to the confusion. Becker's heart raced, but he stayed calm, a vital skill for his job. As he moved around a mangled car, he noticed a flash of orange fur against the gray wreckage. It was the same tabby cat he had seen earlier, sitting on top of a crushed vehicle. Most animals would have run away in such chaos, but this cat seemed unbothered. Becker watched as the cat stared intently into a gap in the wreckage, its tail swishing. Intrigued, he approached carefully, aware of the sharp metal around him. Trusting his instincts, he sensed that this moment was significant. As he got closer, he noticed the cat's alert posture, ears up and body tense, focused on something hidden. Suddenly, the cat let out a loud meow. Becker crouched down to see what it was looking at. His breath caught in his throat when he spotted a young woman behind a deployed airbag, unconscious and missed during the initial search. "We've got another one here," he called out, his voice urgent. Unconscious female, possibly mid-20s. The cat, startled by Becker's sudden movement, leaped away, disappearing into the maze of wrecked vehicles. He hardly noticed, his focus now entirely on the newly discovered victim. He radioed for backup, providing details on the woman's location and condition. Within moments, paramedics rushed to the scene. They worked quickly but carefully to extract the woman from the wreckage, their movements precise and practiced. Becker stepped back, allowing them room to work, but his mind was racing. The serendipity of the situation wasn't lost on him. If not for the cat's unusual behavior, this victim might have been overlooked for crucial minutes or even hours. As the paramedics stabilized the woman and prepared her for transport, Becker scanned the area for the orange tabby. There was no sign of it now, but he made a mental note to keep an eye out. In his years as a firefighter, Becker had learned that help could come from unexpected sources. Today, it seemed it had come in the form of a stray cat. The rescue operation continued with intense focus. Paramedics Sarah Chen and Mike Donovan worked meticulously to stabilize the newly discovered victim. "Careful with her neck, Mike," Sarah instructed, her voice steady despite the pressure. "We don't know if there's spinal damage." Mike nodded, his gloved hands moving with practiced care. The extraction was delicate work, made more challenging by the twisted metal surrounding their patient. As they worked, the orange tabby cat reappeared. It moved with surprising agility through the chaos, weaving between the legs of rescue workers and around scattered debris. The cat's presence was noted by several team members, but in the urgency of the moment, they paid it little mind. Finally, after what seemed like hours but was merely minutes, they successfully extracted the woman from the vehicle. She had regained consciousness during the process, but her condition was far from stable. Her eyes darted around wildly, taking in the scene of destruction. Her breathing came in short, rapid gasps, a clear sign of shock and panic. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" Sarah asked, leaning close to the woman's face. "You're safe now. We're here to help you." But the woman seemed unable to focus on Sarah's words. Her eyes continued to dart around, and her body trembled uncontrollably. The cacophony of sirens, shouts, and ongoing rescue efforts only seemed to heighten her distress. Mike shared a worried glance with Sarah, both aware that the stress could worsen the woman's condition. As paramedics prepared to move the woman onto a gurney, the orange tabby cat, which had been watching, suddenly jumped onto the gurney and settled next to her. The effect was immediate. The woman's wild gaze focused on the cat, and her trembling hand reached out to stroke its fur. This simple motion seemed to ground her, providing focus amid the chaos. Mike and Sarah watched in amazement as the woman's breathing slowed, her rapid, shallow breaths deepened, and her trembling limbs relaxed. "Now that's something you don't see every day," Mike said, shaking his head in disbelief. "Looks like we've got a furry little therapist." Taking advantage of the moment, Sarah asked the woman simple questions: her name, if she remembered what happened, and if she felt any pain. To their relief, the woman responded coherently, her attention divided between answering and gently petting the cat. "Her name is Lisa," Sarah reported to Mike as she checked the woman's vital signs. "Pulse is coming down. Blood pressure is stabilizing. Whatever that cat is doing, it's working." As they prepared Lisa for transport, the cat remained calmly by her side. Its presence seemed to provide a soothing constant in the midst of the continuing chaos around them. The cat's purring, a low, steady vibration, appeared to have a calming effect, not just on Lisa, but on the rescue workers as well. "Should we bring the cat?" Mike asked uncertainly as they prepared to load the gurney into the ambulance. Sarah hesitated, weighing the unusual situation against protocol. She glanced at Lisa, who was still holding the cat's fur, her eyes now clear and focused. "Let's do it," Sarah decided. "If it keeps her calm, it helps us do our job. The hospital staff can decide what to do when we get there." As they loaded Lisa and her feline companion into the ambulance, Sarah marveled at the situation. In her years as a paramedic, she had never seen an animal have such a positive effect on a patient recovering from shock. Once the ambulance doors closed and they pulled away from the accident scene, Sarah looked back at Lisa. Her eyes were closed, her breathing steady, one hand resting gently on the cat's orange fur. In the midst of the chaos, Sarah smiled at this small moment of peace. The tabby remained curled up next to Lisa, a silent source of comfort. As they sped toward the hospital, it reminded Sarah that help and healing could come from unexpected places. By sunset, the chaotic accident scene had transformed into an organized operation, with most victims on their way to nearby hospitals. The air still smelled of burnt rubber and spilled fuel, but the urgent shouts and sirens had faded into the soft murmur of tired first responders. Firefighter Andrew Becker stood near the command post, exhausted and replaying the day's events, the initial chaos, the challenging rescues, and the unexpected help from an orange tabby cat. Just then, the cat reappeared, weaving between the legs of firefighters and paramedics, purring loudly. "Look at that," said Sarah Chen, the paramedic who had transported the shocked woman. She bent down to let the cat nuzzle her hand. "It's like he's checking up on all of us." Becker nodded, a small smile forming. The cat's presence lightened the mood, bringing moments of laughter to his colleagues, who had been wearing grim expressions just moments before. The last ambulance was preparing to depart, its lights flashing silently as the driver completed his final checks. The cat, having finished its circuit of first responders, padded over to the vehicle. To everyone's surprise, it didn't sit down as before. Instead, the orange tabby's attention seemed caught by something on the ground. Becker, still watching the cat with amusement and curiosity, noticed its behavior shift. The cat's ears perked up and its tail twitched as it focused on something. Following its gaze, Becker's eyes widened at the sight of shards of glass from a broken windshield scattered across the ambulance's path. These dangerous obstacles had been overlooked in the fading light and urgency to clear the area. Before anyone could react, the cat sprang into action. With surprising agility, it began batting at the larger pieces of glass, pushing them aside to clear a path for the ambulance. "Hey, look at that," Sarah Chen exclaimed, pointing at the cat's actions. Tired first responders gathered around in amazement as the feline methodically cleared the debris. Becker snapped out of his stunned silence. "Let's help our little friend," he said, quickly moving to assist. The other firefighters and paramedics joined in, carefully picking up the larger shards the cat had pushed aside. Together, they cleared a safe path for the ambulance, while the cat sat at the edge, tail curled around its paws as if inspecting their work. The ambulance driver, watching in disbelief, remarked, "In all my years, I've never seen anything like that. That cat just saved us from a potential tire blowout." Becker knelt beside the cat, gently scratching behind its ears. "You're quite the hero, aren't you?" he murmured, his voice filled with emotion. The cat leaned into his touch, purring loudly. Sarah approached with a first aid kit. "We should check its paws. It might have cut itself on the glass." Carefully, Becker lifted the cat while Sarah examined its paws. To everyone's relief, there were no cuts or glass shards. The cat had avoided injury during its cleanup. As the last ambulance pulled away, the remaining first responders were filled with awe. The day had been full of challenges, but the cat's unexpected heroism left them all speechless. "You know," Becker said, still holding the cat, "I think this little guy has more than earned a place at the firehouse. What do you all say to making him our official mascot?" A murmur of approval rippled through the group. Chief Martin, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "I think that's a fine idea, Becker." but he needs a name befitting a hero. Becker nodded, his brow furrowing in thought. He recalled the cat's fearless behavior around the hazardous materials, how it had led them to the overlooked victim, and its final act of clearing the glass from the ambulance's path. Suddenly, inspiration struck. Hazy, Becker said. We'll call him Hazy, short for Hazmat. It's a nod to his bravery with the dangerous materials and a reminder of this amazing day. Everyone agreed excitedly. Sarah reached out to gently pet Hazy's head. Welcome to the family, little one, she said softly. Amid the chaos and tragedy, they had found an unexpected friend, a small orange cat whose actions had brought comfort and may have even prevented more accidents. As Becker carried the cat to one of the fire trucks, he couldn't help but think how heroes can come in the most surprising forms. The cat purred happily in Becker's arms, unaware of the difference it had made or the new life waiting for it at the firehouse. As the sun set over the now clear accident scene, it marked not just the end of a tough day, but the start of a special bond between the first responders and their unlikely feline hero. What do you think of this incredible cat? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this video. Please give it thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.